Issue 112. We start out with Antoine's father, Antoine, and Sonic seeing Sonic falling to Sonic's arms injured through an interdimensional portal above them. After Antoine feels bad about his father showing admiration for Sonic's heroism and saying that his father might be very proud, which I like as Antoine shows self-awareness there. Sonic is taken to Dr. Quack, still unconscious with a head injury. This is probably the most sympathetic he's ever been. Then Sonic comes back and realizes what Antoine's problem is, feeling bad for how depressed he looks. Sonic tries to talk up Antoine to his father, and Antoine shows self-awareness again by whispering to him that he knows he's no hero. The two shake hands after Sonic comes up with a plan, and after Sonic wakes up with a visible red bump and tells Sonic that one of his worst enemies is loose in the zone, Scourge shows up, as I was expecting, and lampshades how Antoine made the whole thing up. Antoine assumes that Sonic disguised himself as Scourge as part of the plan to make him look more heroic to his dad. But the problem is that we clearly saw Sonic whispering a plan to Antoine, so why would he think that the plan changed to this? I mean, Sonic didn't know that Scourge was going to show up. Either way, thinking that he's Sonic gives Antoine the courage to karate chop him in the head and knock him out. People like to say that this is Scourge's weakest, most pathetic moment. And it is humiliating for Scourge, but to be honest, he was just caught off guard. And anyone would have been knocked out by that. I mean, it's not like his head is made of metal, it's not immune to being knocked out or karate chopped or anything. It's a shame that the story just ends after this, with Scourge being arrested by Sonic right away. He was being so smart earlier by fleeing Litigio Palos before Sonic could potentially catch up to him. If only he hadn't made a stupid mistake and come here. But instead, he went after Sonic for revenge, and it backfired. The next story has me pretty confused right away, as Sonic asks Chuck why he isn't coming to Lupe and her family's going away party. Lupe was roboticized, and when we saw the wolf pack leaving Mobotropolis, well, one, they were leaving Mobotropolis and not a knothole, and two, there was no going away party. Did Lupe... oh wait. Yeah, she must have been one of the Robians that Sally restored the free will of, never mind. Chuck says that he's too swamped with research, causing Sonic to get the smart idea to simply bring the going away party to him. After Chuck looks at Sonic, wistfully jealous of how carefree, innocent, and lucky Sonic is, which I expect more of a Miles towards Tails. And then the story wraps up a plot thread by having Uncle Chuck feel terrible about how he roboticized Lupe and her family. Lupe reminds him that he had no free will at the time, and gives him a heartwarming hug. See, this is how issues 51 and 52 should have been. They spend some peacetime after a villain supposedly defeated with showing the heroes in their downtime, humanizing them. And that's what these past two issues have mostly done. The first story was by Benny Lee, and it's about Sonic planning to make Antoine get more respect as a hero from his dad because he's feeling depressed about Sonic getting way more respect than him. It ends with Antoine defeating the evil version of Sonic the Hedgehog with a single karate chop. Again, it was to the head, and he interrupted him, catching him completely off guard. As powerful as he is, I don't see why he'd be magically immune to that happening to him. It's just a really big missed opportunity that the story ends right then and there instead of having him do more stuff. A lot more stuff. And I think after this he gets put on a bus and we don't see him for a really long time. The whole plot was supposed to be stupidity, where Antoine was stupid enough to just assume Sonic disguised himself as Scourge, when we clearly saw him telling him his plan, and that couldn't have been it, since Sonic didn't know Scourge was going to show up. And where Scourge was stupid enough to return to Mobius Prime and assume that it wouldn't lead to him being arrested, when he was beforehand smart enough to avoid the place like the plague. He had to have been avoiding it in Sonic on purpose, so he would have returned to fight him for revenge right away. But instead, he recognized Sonic and the Zone Cops as a bigger threat to his way of life, and it backfired on him. My other biggest disappointment is that I guess the title page gave me the false expectation that Antoine would go on an actual adventure to prove himself to his father, but he didn't. It was just so mundane. And the second story, by Carl Bollers, it's about wrapping up an old plot thread as Uncle Chuck clearly feels horrible about roboticizing Lupe, and Lupe has to be the one to forgive him for reminding him that he wasn't himself. Also, I'm glad they reaffirmed that Chuck didn't remember it actually happening, so they still haven't implemented the bullshit, nonsensical thing where Robians do remember being roboticized, which is totally unnecessary. All in all, this was another issue about lighthearted downtime, and because it was about good character moments and wrapping up loose plot threads, these first few issues of the second peacetime, as short as it will be, were handled much better than last time, where 52 and 51 just tried to have epic stories again and felt totally pointless.